So this is a bonus episode. This is just a little something we thought would be fun to do. A little bonus content.
Bonus episode indeed.
Um, I wonder if I could make this so that we can actually see all of the beers we're gonna rank, as well as our faces. That's not great, but I think it's okay. All right. Okay. So how do we these are just sort of randomly copy pasted in here, no particular order. Do we just start on the left and just go through?
I think so. Now, the question is, if I change something on this list, does it change it for you as well? Or are we working on separate lists?
I have
I'm
no
pretty
idea.
sure we're working on separate lists. I'm going to drag
drag something.
Miller Lite to the S tier. Not that necessarily I think that's where it's going to go, and see if it changes for you. I don't think it did, but it did for me. So we are working with separate lists for sure.
That's fine. I mean, we'll just, as long as they match. It's a visual aid.
Yeah.
Are they in the same order? Ish. We're gonna talk about it. It doesn't matter. We're gonna talk about it anyway. So
yes, they're in the same order.
All right.
I think because you sent me the link, it gave me the same order of images.
Dope. So number one on here is Blue Moon. Now, if you were to ask me to list a bunch of cheap beer, I'm gonna be honest, Blue Moon probably isn't on that list.
No, I've also only ever had Blue Moon like 2 or 3 times, all of which were at Applebee's.
Yeah. That being said, I would like to keep Blue Moon on our list because Blue Moon sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. So I feel like the problem here is there is a D tier, and I don't know that any of these except maybe Blue Moon end up in D tier for me. Well,
I disagree.
never mind. I'm looking around and I'm seeing a couple that do end up in D tier for sure.
Tell you what.
Yeah, I'm putting.
Oh shit! You know, can I add one?
A beer? Yeah, go for it.
No. But I mean, sure, but how? Without having to like resubmit.
I mean, it's just a visual aid, and I have our Twitch stream up. Whenever we get to whatever one you want to add, we can just argue about it, and we can use yours as the official version.
No, it's fine. We don't have to worry about it. It's just I almost put it on here because it was on the list of cheap beers I found. We used to always joke that Sam Adams is the most mediocre beer. Like, it is the dead center 5 out of 10 beer.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I was like, we could put that on here, and then we would just decide that that is our dead middle. But if we're being honest, Blue Moon is kind of also that. Like, if somebody was like, hey, do you want a Blue Moon? You would go, sure. But, like, you're not going to...
They're not going to complain about giving it for free, but I would never buy it of my own volition, except for...
Who's buying Blue Moon?
That they had it at Applebee's in Angola on special a couple of times, and you could get, like, a big-ass glass for $3.
Yeah. Blue Moon is a cheap beer by, like, bar standards. Blue Moon is, like, the best cheap beer. It's like, hey, you can get a picture of, like, your standard drafts. You can also get a picture of Blue Moon for the same price. And you're just like, well, technically Blue Moon is like
it comes with an orange.
Beer.
None of the other beers come with an orange. Oh, you know what? I feel like we should add Tecate on here.
Oh, man.
So we're going left to right then?
I think yeah. We just start.
Okay. We start with Blue Moon. I'm saying low B tier, high C tier.
Really?
Where are you going to put it?
I mean, I was thinking low C. I don't put Blue Moon anywhere near B.
Okay.
That's just me.
Let's put it in C, and we'll see where we go.
Adjust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bud Light.
Bud Light's... That's hard.
I think if Bud Heavy didn't exist, I think I put Bud Light higher, but I just like Diesel way more.
Yeah, I think Bud Light's probably a B tier for me.
Do you put a Bud Light above a Blue Moon?
Shit, yeah, you're right.
Blue Moon is the only beer that prevents scurvy.
Hey, that's not true. Tecate has limes.
That's true. One of two beers.
That's what I always argue with Tony and Tana that when we're at the White Rabbit. Please go to the White Rabbit. People listen to this. If you're anywhere near Indiana, you travel out of your way to go to a show there, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll
get on a plane.
Podcast. Yeah, get on a plane and go to White Rabbit. It honestly should be an attraction in Indianapolis. It's amazing. But Bud Light, yeah, okay. With that in mind, I'm going to put Bud Light in C tier, but behind Blue Moon.
I agree with that.
I think Bud Heavy gets B tier, though.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah. Busch Light, I think it's C tier behind Bud Light.
Really?
It might get moved to D tier for me. I don't know yet.
I'm thinking D.
I'm cool with that. Because right now, D is still below Bud Light, and I definitely think Busch is below Bud Light.
100%.
Yeah.
Anything so that if I have to buy something else to make your beer like palatable, like if I have to get beer salts on top of your case of beer, it's a bad beer. All right, Miller Lite.
I like Miller Lite better than Bud Light.
I do not like Miller Lite at all. To be entirely honest with you, I would take a Busch Light over a Miller Lite, to be entirely honest. This is the controversy.
Yeah, this is the controversy. I would put Bud Light and Miller Lite very close together. But I would think Bud Light, to me, has a very distinct banana flavor for some reason, and always has. And I know that's weird.
Bananas are great.
It just always had. Bananas are great, but it's just a weird thing, which is why I would put Miller Lite above Bud Light, because it doesn't have that weird banana flavor for me.
I suppose that's fine. I do not like Miller products whatsoever. There is not a Miller beer that I will vouch for.
Well, I don't like Miller Heavy at all. I would put Miller Lite above Miller Heavy. But so I also feel like I am biased because I've never had Miller Lite on purpose. I've only ever bought it on purpose in college because a lot of times they would run out of Bud Light at the college that I went to, the college bar that I went to. And so we would get pitchers of Miller Lite for $5. Yeah. So I feel like I have a lot of good memories tied up in Miller Lite, which don't necessarily, relate to the taste.
I mean, I have solid memories tied to times that I drank Miller Lite. It was the go-to keg for there weren't a ton of house parties when I was in college just because it's a wet campus, a bunch of fraternities. And people swore up and down Miller Lite was the best of the big three. And I don't agree. I feel about Miller Lite how you feel about Bud Light, where as soon as I taste it, I'm just like, oh no. But it's okay. We can leave it where it is.
Okay, which is where for you?
Right now, it's at C above Bud Light.
C above Bud Light. Okay.
Yeah. I don't totally agree, but I know that public opinion disagrees with me.
I like Coors Banquet, actually.
Coors Banquet's great.
I actually just like all of Coors beer, even Coors Light.
I put Coors Banquet ahead of Budweiser.
I would as well.
I put Coors Banquet ahead of most of these beers, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, I'm debating putting Coors Banquet in A tier.
There's an S tier. I think we can go A tier. I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
This was the cheap beer at Tappers for a while, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that was
That was great.
We should go to Tappers. I might be getting the COVID vaccine sometime in the near future. Let's go to Tappers.
Well, all right. Well, I'm not.
Okay, well.
You could go to Tappers. Dale's Pale Ale. It shouldn't be on this list, so it's just going to go with the top.
Yeah, it's S tier for sure.
It's just a good beer that also, it's not cheap, but it's also it's not Bud Light, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hams.
This I feel like is the one we're going to argue about. I feel like Hams is a B tier beer.
I was going to say top B, actually. I was going to say top of beer.
Okay.
I think Coors is better.
We didn't put Old Style on here, which was going to be the argument point, I feel.
Oh, for Old Style?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd have put Hams and Old Style very close together, with Old Style nudging out Hams for me personally.
Okay, so yeah, we would have argued by one spot. I like Hams
Yeah.
better than Old Style, but I don't dislike Old Style. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I
So
think Hams
where
is
so
better, but
do
yeah.
you put Hams and B tier above Budweiser or below them?
Oh, above.
Because okay, cool. Then we agree on that too.
I mean, I was about to actually say it depends how I'm feeling because Budweiser's like heavier, and sometimes I'm feeling that. You know what I mean? But yeah, like if I'm at a liquor store, case of Hams, case of Budweiser, Hams is like $1 cheaper, and I think quality
Yeah,
wise almost the same. So you always go Hams. Uh,
for sure.
drank a ton of Hams in college because PBR got ruined by hipsters, and it went from $11 a case to
So like,
$20 a case.
yeah,
So everybody started drinking Hams. There would be no Hams if it wasn't for hipsters.
PBR is my beer of choice. A, because it's great, and B, because in high school, the guy whose house I'd hang out with, his mom and stepdad always had PBR, and they didn't care if a couple of them went missing. And so that was like the beer that I first had because it also had I had Coors before and I had Miller. I didn't like either of those, and then we had PBR, and I was like, this is not bad.
No, it's not. I
But yeah, they bought it because it was cheap.
still drinking PBR. So here's the thing with Honey Brown. I guess I don't want to uh
I'm gonna put it at
can't
top of 8 here for me.
can't top of 8 here.
Yeah,
Okay.
where were you gonna put it at?
Telegraph was the word I was trying to think of. I didn't want to telegraph my move. I was gonna put it ahead of Blue Moon.
Really?
It's not a
But yeah,
bad beer.
let me rethink this because it's not a cheap beer in my opinion.
No, it's not, and that's why it's lower for me.
Yeah,
Like Dale's Pale Ale is not really a cheap beer. It was just on the list we pulled, but it's good. Like it's a good beer.
yeah,
Honestly, everything from Oscar Blues. I don't think I've had a bad Oscar Blues beer. They might exist. I've only because we're in Indiana, we really get like their best sellers anyway. But like everything I've had from them is great. But Honey Brown's not
I'm
really a cheap
I
beer. If I'm
I
gonna
am
pay,
rethinking.
you know what I mean?
I'm
If Blue
rethinking.
Moon's a C, this is slightly better Blue Moon, right? Like
Yeah,
I like it better than Blue
yes.
Moon, but what am I doing?
I guess my original thought was because it's more expensive, and we had it as our expensive beer at one of our senior send-offs, it would be higher. But looking at the other beers here, if you were like, "Do you want a Honey Brown or a Coors Banquet?" I would go with Coors Banquet.
Oh,
If you offered me a
100%.
Hams, if you offered me a Hams, I would go with Hams over
I
uh, this one. I don't know if you offered me a Bud Heavy, and if you offered me this, if I would go with the Bud Heavy or not.
the fact that in your head it's a coin flip, I think makes my point.
Yeah, because it's so much more expensive.
Because yeah, like it's not on this list because it's not a cheap beer, but like the Indiana Amber is the expensive beer at like every Indianapolis gala, right? It's always like Bud Light, then Indiana because they're like a local brewery.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. Like it's that tier. It's that like it's 30 cents more a bottle, but it's still like it's an amber, you know, it's a brown ale. You know what I mean? Like are we
Yeah.
really what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Okay. With that in mind, I'm going to put it above Blue Moon in C tier.
Yeah, I agree.
But it might, I'm going to look at the list at the end and I might move it up to the bottom of B tier. Depends on how stiff the competition is.
It's essentially at that spot right now.
Yeah.
So we're on to what I think this might be one of the biggest arguments we're going to have. MGD, the Miller Genuine Draft. I do not like this beer. I do not like this beer at all.
I like Miller Lite better than I like this.
And I've already made my opinions on Miller Lite. No, of the beers we have ranked, MGD is the worst as far as I'm concerned.
See, I want to argue with you for the sake of the argument, but I also would say that it's my least favorite on here. Well, it's not my least favorite. There are actually at least two coming up that I like less, but of the ones currently on the board, I would say it's my least favorite.
All right, so Underbush Light?
Yes, for sure.
Yep. Keystone, we're not arguing.
This one's hard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Assumptions were made. I'll pull it back off. Please tell me what beer exists in your mind that's better than or that isn't better than a Keystone.
I like Keystone better than like Bush and Miller.
What?
Yeah, man. And maybe it's because of all the times I spent drinking in college, because it is the cheapest beer a lot of times. Like, I prefer it over Bush and Miller Heavy.
You're serious right now?
I'm dead serious. One of my buddies, Drew, who you've met, well, his favorite beer is his favorite second beer was Keystone. Sorry, his favorite beer was actually Natty Ice, which was hilarious because we could never get him to drink beer in college, but he would drink Natty Ice and Keystones all day.
You just drink the worst possible beers.
Yeah, I can go up in the air on this one. If you want to put it at the bottom of D tier right now, that's fine.
I mean,
But for my money, between Bush, Miller, Heavy, and Keystone, I would go with Keystone.
Really?
Also, they had cool commercials, man. Keith Stone.
I mean,
I can say no to that guy.
Sure. Yeah, they brought back Pepsi points, right? Like you could turn in your stuff for orange shit from Keystone. If you got an orange can or whatever is a big deal. I'm putting it in the middle.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Okay, Lone Star.
Lone Star is A tier for me.
A tier. I was gonna say top would be. I'll take. I think I would drink a Banquet over a Lone Star, but I like a good Lone Star. Lone Star bottles, I think, are bottom A tier. Low tier. Lone Star cans, I think, are the top of B tier because they don't come with fun puzzles.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, if you showed me everything on this list, I would pick a Lone Star right now because of the fun puzzles.
Yeah. Yeah. The puzzles are fun.
Yeah.
The pictures of a can.
That's fair. So yeah, I'd put it bottom of A tier.
Had we planned ahead, I would have put both just to illustrate the point that one is slightly better than the other because it has a fun puzzle. All right. I know where I would put Coors Light at, and I feel like you're going to really disagree with me.
I actually like Light.
I hate Coors Light.
I would go bottom of B tier right now.
You're of B? You would.
No, that's not true. I would put
Looking at these beers.
Between. I've changed my mind. I am going to go with C tier after Blue Moon, but before Bud Light and Miller.
What?
Yeah, that's where it's at for me. I'm looking at it again, sticking my guns on that one.
How? I hate Coors Light.
Coors Light is just like...
It tastes like batteries. It tastes like aluminum.
I don't like Bud Light, which we've stated.
That's fine.
Miller Lite, to me, I actually do like. But I would agree that it has, it's off. It's Coors Light. It just tastes like the way that I imagine Duff beer tastes like from The Simpsons. It's just like what the taste of like cheap mainstream beer is to me for some reason, and always has been.
Is it weird that it's batteries?
It is weird that it's batteries.
It tastes like aluminum. Yeah. It has like a weird metallic taste to it.
So,
like I get a lot of shit for how much I hate Coors Light because everybody's like, it's all the same, like crappy lager. Sure, not Coors Light. It tastes like aluminum.
That might be the case because I have had Coors Light in the can very few times, oddly enough. I have almost always drinking Coors on draft in pitchers because it was one of the other offers at the college bar that I went to when I was in college.
I used to get
on draft,
so
it's
angry.
Pretty good.
Is it? Because I've only ever had it in cans. The guy who used to buy us beer when we couldn't buy beer loved Coors Light to a point where we would be like, hey, can you get us a case of PBR? And he would get us a case of Coors Light instead. So we'd be down 6 beers. And it would cost more for a worse beer. I hate
that would
Coors
also
Light.
make me hate Coors Light. I feel like
it
though.
Also
like
tastes
if I asked
terrible.
somebody for PBR and they gave me Coors Light, I would be upset.
Like,
of course, the old Scott.
I mean, I can't in good consciousness put this ahead of a Blue Moon. Like, I disrespect Blue Moon just because I don't appreciate what it pretends to be versus what it actually is. But Coors Light tastes like batteries.
I put Coors Light behind Blue Moon in front of Miller Lite.
I guess. I don't... This whole thing I'm not on board with, but it's fine. Okay. Mick Ultra. I think we have to like make an extra tier because like this is barely a beer.
It's like, yeah, I don't dislike it, but I don't like it either.
If I ever start drinking Mick Ultras, I have told all my friends that like I just have to quit drinking. Like if that's where you're at in life, because like you have to drink 100 of them to get drunk, and the only reason you drink them is because like of how like hyper low calorie they are, and like at that point, just give up.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide where I want this to because it might be my least favorite beer on this list, but I feel like it's just so inoffensive that it feels wrong to put it behind Keystone.
Here's the thing: college kids drink thousands of Keystones a year. Who's drinking Mick Ultra?
Fucking
Bunch of soccer dads or whatever,
dudes who
right?
play golf.
Yeah, like Mick Ultra is
I'm
drank
cool.
by people who like aren't allowed to drink beer anymore.
I'm cool with putting it in last.
Yeah, I think that goes there. All right, then we've got High Life.
This is hard, and I feel like I might put an argument between the two of us. I like High Life actually.
Like High Life.
Mm, I'm
Like
gonna
like
put
if High Life handed you a note in grade school and it was like, "Hey, do you like me or do you like me?" Which one do you circle? A little hard around it.
God. Oh man, that's so hard. I feel like yeah, you got me with that one. I would put High Life in B tier between Hams and Budweiser. I like High Life, man. I
Hey, this
told
has
you.
been really fun. And I don't mean by this episode, I mean knowing you. We can probably just be done with it at this point. What?
Where are you putting High Life?
I don't know. I was gonna put it somewhere down here with the rest of the not good beers. You want to put it in B tier? You're gonna put. You fought so hard for Coors Light so that you could put High Life ahead of it.
Okay, I'm putting my thoughts back into effort. My thoughts back around, and I think you're right. I'm gonna put it in C tier behind Coors Light. But that's my limit of downwardness because I do think
That
because
is, I don't
Blue
agree
Moon.
with the. I think everything in C tier is correct. I think the order's wrong. I do like High Life more than I like Miller Lite, though. So I will give you that. I do not like High Life less than Coors Light because Coors Light tastes like aluminum foil.
Blue Moon and the Shiner Bock are really throwing,
Yeah,
not Shiner Bock, sorry, Honey Gold are really throwing me when I go to make my decisions because I always forget they're on here.
they're really just there to, really just as a reminder of like what you can get for half as much money.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
Milwaukee's best, the Beast, the best chest, the what do you mean they're out of Keystone, Natty Ice, PBR, and Bud Light? Well, then I guess we can get Milwaukee's best.
Yeah, I've never had Milwaukee's Best on purpose. I've never even been given it for free. I've only bought it for that very reason. It was just like the only thing on the list they had that they hadn't run out of at like a motorcycle show I was at.
I knew people who drank Milwaukee's best fairly often. So I had it. It was one of those like, hey, can I trade like a warm beer for a cold beer kind of things? You know, like so like I
Yeah.
would drink them fairly often, but I would get like one, maybe two, just like from somebody else. It's not bad. It's okay. It's a beer. I mean, if we're looking at, I mean, I definitely think it's like if you were like, hey, do you want a Bud Light or Milwaukee's Best? I'd think I'd take the Milwaukee's Best just as like a haha, we're drinking the beast kind of thing. But from an actual like blind taste test, I don't know how much better it really is.
I think I'm putting it at top of D tier.
Yeah, I concur. I think that's. I think I would take it over Bush Light. What's funny about Bush Light is Bush Light with beer salt is actually pretty good.
I've never had it.
You never had beer salt?
No.
All right. I don't know. Eventually,
You have Monday off, don't you?
do I?
MLK Day, man.
Oh, well, I mean, if you do, I do. Hell yeah.
Well,
I
let's do
have
it.
I have beer salt. I keep beer salt on hand specifically because I drink cheap beer and other people don't. So I have that. So I can be like, hey, you just dump that in there. It's like a lemon lime. It's really good. Bush Light tastes great with it because Bush Light has no taste. So you mix the salt taste with essentially nothing, and it's pretty solid. Learned that from my Southern Indiana family. I'm there.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I thought I'm your Southern Indiana family. I just also have family from down there.
Natty Ice.
This is hard.
Is it?
I feel like it should go between Busch Light and Keystone.
So here's the thing. Natty Ice is by far the worst tasting thing on this list.
But it's like an extra 1.5%
But it's
of alcohol.
an extra percent. Yeah. It's that college beer math where I'm sitting here going, I mean, if somebody offered me a Natty Ice and somebody offered me anything on D tier, I'd be like, well, give me the booze. You know what I mean?
If I'm going to
if we're gonna
ruin
do
my
it,
day, like
I would almost put it. I would put it above Busch Light. I think I would take a Busch Light over a Natty Ice. I think the taste difference there is worth it because like Natty Ice is bad.
oh, for sure. It doesn't taste like beer. It tastes like
a Natty Ice.
yeah.
Like
It tastes
anything
like
that
somebody
ends in
took
ice.
the idea of beer and added a little extra alcohol, that's because it's what it is.
It's what it is. Yeah, any ice beer is bad. I've never had an ice beer and been like, this is. And I've had Bud Ice. Comes in a clear bottle. Looks kind of
I've
orange.
never had Bud Ice. That sounds hilarious.
I got a like pallet of it from our CVS for like nothing. Like it was basically expired, and it comes in clear bottles, so it's like inherently skunked.
Oof.
But like you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? That's how bad it is. Keystone Ice didn't make this list. It would have just been ahead of Keystone for the reasons we're arguing for Natty Ice. We only need one ice beer. I think this represents all ice beers. Are we cool with that? Can we declare
I'm
Natty
cool
Ice
with that.
the representative
ice
of
beer.
ice? Yeah. Because if we're gonna do that, after all of that speech I just gave, I think we just put it behind Busch Light.
I'm down. That's where I'd put it too.
That makes sense.
It was debating for me between in front of or behind Busch, but I think like as an idea of all ice beers and what they stand for and how terrible they are, that's a good place. PBR, top of S tier.
Number one, baby.
I will
Get
fist
rocked,
fight you in a
Dales.
parking lot if you disagree with me on that one.
PBR is the greatest.
Rolling Rock is going to be a bad one for me and you, I feel, because
Rolling Rock is garbage.
Oh, I love Rolling Rock.
How?
I would put it at top of B tier because
The top of B tier? Rolling Rock?
yes, because I like the way it tastes personally, and also
How? How can you like a thing that doesn't have a flavor? How can you like the taste of the void of taste?
you want to know what the coolest thing about Rolling Rock is, though? I don't think you're ready.
What?
Green glass, which is what Rolling Rock glass bottles come in, is structurally less hard, like less easier to break, I should say, than other types of glass.
Yeah.
So if you take a Rolling Rock and you slam it into your forehead about a quarter of the way down from the base of the bottle, it'll shatter, which is a really cool party trick that I have pulled off twice after my father talked to me about it one time as like a thing a friend of his could do, and then I decided to drunkenly try it at a party one time. It was great. You also risk hitting your head on the base of the bottle and just really hurting yourself, which I have also done.
So I hate Rolling Rock for the same reason you like Rolling Rock. I used to open my beers on my door jamb because we had like fire doors, right? Because like technically my fraternity house was like a campus building.
They just shatter. They just fucking shatter.
The amount of times you would go hit down and like people like, oh, you're drunk, you screwed up. And it's like, no, like it's not hard to line up a bottle cap on a piece of metal. And because there's like we had fire doors, like they were sturdy ass doors made of metal. And yeah, you would go to open it and like the whole top would just everywhere and glass in your beer. And then you have to like find somebody with a sieve or something so you can drink your beer.
Yeah.
Rolling Rocks don't taste good. Rolling Rocks are a bitch to open without shattering them. I'm happy. Honestly, how are you arguing that this is a high quality beer where the only use you have for it is smacking yourself in the face? What the hell kind of argument?
It's a fun thing to do at parties.
You like drinking that Rolling Rock? No, I just love concussions.
Dude, I've ever told you about Fromble.
Yes, you've told me about
Yeah.
Fromble. Of course, you've told me about Fromble.
PBR is a great beer for Fromble, as is Bush Light. That's probably how I've drank the most Bush Light in my life is playing Fromble.
I'm happy I didn't know about Fromble when I was younger.
Because it's a great game.
I would have played so like I would have been the one guy like our houses were very different fraternities. Like if I knew about Fromble, it would be me playing Fromble and then other people trying to expel me for it. But
That's
like
hilarious. I think I got voted in as president of my fraternity exclusively because of my Fromble skills.
yeah, we were really worried about people's ability to like delegate and deal with campus officials, but you know, playing Fromble, that's a thing. That's how we should decide who goes first at 5 things.
Yeah, I am so in for that.
No, it would destroy. My office is carpeted. I can't do that.
Hey, this is wood. Tara will yell at me forever, but you know.
Well.
Okay, so Rolling Rock, where are you putting it? I'm okay with putting it in D tier. Because honestly, taste wise, that's where it belongs.
I will put this anywhere in D tier. I will concede
I'm putting
ranking
it
of D
above
tier.
Bush, below Milwaukee's Best.
I think that that is appropriate. If you offered me a Rolling Rock and you offered me a Best, again, kind of because we're drinking the Beast is like a funny thing. But I think they're close.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't smash yourself in the. I mean, you could smash yourself in the face with a bottle of Milwaukee's Best.
I feel like it'd stand up to it though. There's something about Milwaukee's Best. I feel like it would
It's
hang on.
it's from Wisconsin. It would crack your skull straight open.
Yeah,
Can't do
much like Chuddy, it's stronger than it looks.
Definitely. Unbreakable man that only weighs 85 pounds. Okay, Shinerbach is on here because I downloaded these images from a list, and Shinerbach just goes over here. We can argue Shinerbach is better than Dale's Pale Ale, I suppose, but like...
I like pale. I like Dale's Pale Ale, but I just like pale ales better than what is Shinerbach. I think it's like
Actually,
it's a brown.
Man, I'm looking at this list.
Yeah,
I might put Shinerbach below Coors Banquet.
I'm also cool with that.
I'm thinking, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Shinerbach. The bottles come with little keychains on them, little goats. You can hang on your Christmas tree if you want. And it's not a bad beer. I like Banquet. I don't think Shinerbach
is
is
expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't think I like it that much more. Like
I don't.
Especially if I'm at a bar and they have Coors Banquet, which it's slowly becoming a thing. It used to be you couldn't get Banquet anywhere. Now you kind of can. Coors Banquet and a pint, $3, $3.50. Shinerbach, it's like a $6 beer.
I'm picking Coors every time.
Yeah, like I'm not paying double for a Shiner. You give me if I'm at a place like a Shinerbach at like $3.50 a pint, fine.
Yeah.
But that's like dive bars only, where like the owner got a keg of it from their supplier trying to be cool. You know what I mean? That's not an all the time thing. All right, Yingling. This technically is Yingling Premium. Ignore the premium. We're just calling it Yingling. This is the picture we have.
I don't really like Yingling, which I know sucks. I like their black and tan.
The Yingling black and tan is good.
I would put their black and tan in A tier, but the darker version of their beer and or just plain Yingling, I would not put in A tier personally.
So, we were joking earlier. We should have placed Sam Adams first because Sam Adams, to me, on the entire spectrum of beer, is just dead middle. It's the most beer you can get. It is.
It's either right behind Blue Moon or right in front of or right behind Budweiser, and it just based on pricing alone, I feel like that decision is made, and I could go either way.
Strictly tasting, Sam Adams is the most just beer.
Yeah, and I would put Yingling right behind wherever we're putting Sam Adams.
Dude, I put Yingling to me is the dead center of cheap beer, which I guess is what we're doing, and we just happen to have these slightly more expensive beers in here. So it's would you take a Yingling? I would take a Honey Brown over a Yingling for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do not know about a Blue Moon v Yingling.
I take a Blue Moon over a Yingling just because I want the orange, man. I want that orange. I like oranges. Hate Squareby.
Yeah, I feel like the part of me that like always like defers would take the Yingling because I know that there's more of them. And I know people who love Blue Moon. Like my sister loves Blue Moons, right? So like Blue Moon, if you're upset about it, you're 50-50 on people who like and dislike, so it's okay. Um, so like I know people love Blue Moon and I don't, so I always just say no to it. But like it does taste better than Yingling, not by much, but I do think it gets the edge.
Yeah. So Sam Adams then.
I think Sam Adams goes right here. If we're gonna have Blue Moon and the Honey Brown as our middle, and this is the most middle, therefore it must go in the middle of our middle.
Yeah.
And then Tecate.
Tecate is right behind PPR.
Right behind
I
PBR?
I love Tecate. It is a 50-50. Nah, it's not 50-50. Well, that's not true.
See,
lime makes it a 50-50 for me with PBR.
Really?
Yeah, because I like the lime, but
Yeah.
I just like Tecate. I like everything about Tecate. It is one of my favorite beers just in general.
I do like Tecate. Throwing it
I'm
on
looking
the
at all of these beers, and I would pick a Tecate over every single one of them every time except maybe PBR.
see, I would take a Dale's Pale over a Tecate for sure. I might take a Coors. Probably Coors is a bigger can. We're gonna go taste only. I probably stick with Tecate. We can. I mean, I acknowledge that we're ranking like bad beers. It is very funny to me that like our bottom two are just full. Everything else is. But we can, whatever. I'll give it to you. That's fine.
And it prevents scurvy.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons why I like Tecate so much. I ordered one, and I got back to the table, and it was you, Tony, and Tannen were sitting at the table, and Tony turned to me and was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Comes with a lime?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Why?" And I said, "Prevent scurvy."
I mean,
And he was
being
like,
medically
"You're
safe.
worried?" And he was like, "Scurvy?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You're worried about it?" And I was like, "All the time, yeah. It's a constantly on the forefront of my mind.
Not
I can't
anymore.
go
I'm
through a
drinking
show-
Tecate.
Yeah, I can't go through a show without thinking, what if I have scurvy right now? If I drink one of these beforehand, I don't have to worry about it for a whole day."
All right. I like this mostly. I think Honey Brown comes up to the back of B.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I almost move Sam Adams up there as well. It's just the most beer, you know what I mean?
I'm cool with that as well.
Like it makes sense to me because we've got 5 for this to be the very end of our third tier, and then the start of C and D is Blue Moon down to Mick Ultra, which isn't a beer.
Where would you? The one beer I feel like that could have been on here that we didn't add was Stella Artois.
I hate Stella.
It is my least favorite beer in the entire universe. I can't stand it. I had it for the first time at Kilroy's because they had a special on it, and I went there with Tony and Michaela and Tannen one time. Having never had it before, having seen commercials for it, I thought it was going to be like a nice and fancy beer.
No.
It sucked.
Tastes bad.
They served it in that special glass even that you get Stella in, which
Yeah.
was cool to look at. Terrible beer. Did
Yeah.
not like it.
I got conned almost every year. Stella Artois is like the candy corn of beer to me. Because every Christmas they sell like the big Stellas with
Yeah.
like the star on it. And every year in college, like people would get them. And they'd be like, hey, the new Stellas are out. Do you want one? It's like $10 or whatever. And my dumb college brain would just hear, hey, we're getting giant bottles of beer. And I was like, I love giant bottles of
Hell
beer.
yeah.
Here is $10. And then I would open it and I'd be like, I can't unopen this. And I hate it. And you're just like double fisting Stella and like whatever shitty beer you have left in your fridge trying to like chase it. Because like, I don't know, I do not like it.
No, it was bad enough that for the first time in my life, I paid for a beer at a restaurant and did not finish it. I ordered something else, and I gave the Stella to like Tannen or Tony.
Yeah, Stella Artois is what college kids think is fancy beer because it is like
Great marketing.
pre like microbrewery boom, right? When like IPAs became the thing. I think Stella Artois was popular for the same reason IPAs that were like super hoppy and annoying is because if you've only ever had like a Bud Light And then somebody says, "Hey, here's this other different beer, and it tastes like nothing you've never tasted in your entire life." You're like, "Oh, this must be fancy beer." Stella is good because it doesn't taste like a Bud Light. Where really Stella is garbage. It tastes like shit. But it doesn't taste. But it tastes different. So you can look at my. It's in a fun glass, and the bottle is nice. Green glass. You can smash your face with one of those. Should we move it up?
Probably.
S tier
Well,
now because
with
you can
that
shatter
thought,
it on your dome.
the bottle shape is weird though. I feel like it'd be hard to get the right angle
I mean,
because they
it's
get scared and dick again.
yeah, it's like bigger though. So like you just got to find like the middle of that cylinder and just like
Yeah.
El Kabong your face.
My father also, the same day he told me that story, he told me that he knew a guy that could chug a whole fifth of Jack Daniels, which is nothing I ever want to do.
You can do it. You just puke
Fun
afterwards.
fact. Yeah, this guy would just chug it and then not drink for the rest of the night, supposedly. But
I mean, if I chugged a bottle of Jack Daniels, I would also not drink for the rest of the night.
I don't think I would end up in the hospital. I don't think you would either, but I do think we would both regret anything else that happened.
I mean, personally, I would just puke immediately. Like,
I'd probably puke immediately. Yeah.
I've had a few occasions when I like was in college where I would have to drink a large sum of liquor quickly. And yeah, like you can do it and you can make it work and you can be like, wow, that sucked and tasted really bad, but I'm okay. And then your body goes, hey, asshole, and then
nope,
it's gone. And honestly, if you don't do that, then that's the problem. Is because like now, yeah, you're going to the hospital. Like, even if you don't think you need to, it's time to go to the hospital. It's just not worth it. Unless you're like Andre the Giant, who drinks or drank like Sam Adams like they were beers. Not Sam Adams, Jack Daniels like they were beers.
Yeah.
Just like
or Wade Boggs.
Yeah.
We did that. We did that for Tony's senior send off, and I got to like 42 or 3 over the course of 10 hours. Wade Boggs did 70 as the legend in like 5 hours, and I can't imagine. At the end, I wasn't even like it wasn't even like an alcohol poisoning or a blackout. I did black out I think twice throughout the. I think it was like 16 hours I think time period. I never puked. I was hungover the next morning, but not more than you'd expect because we started drinking at like 6 a.m.
Right.
But like by the end of the night, I just couldn't drink any more liquid, let alone beer.
That was my thing. I was like, you couldn't give me that much water. Like, hey, you got to drink 5 gallons of water in 5 hours. I'd be like, fucking no.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I just got tired of going to the bathroom. Like,
yeah, no.
It was fun to be drunk for almost 24 hours, I'll be honest.
Yeah. That was like the homecoming / bid day, like wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drink until 4 o'clock in the other morning, which I'm sure would kill me now. But when you're 19, do it all the time.
Why not?
No problem.
Every day, all day.
All right. Well, if you find yourself in a liquor store in some kind of college town and they only have the cheapest beer and also Dale's Pale Ale because it made it on this list somehow,
for some reason,
you can still buy a PBR instead.
Or Tecate, but also buy limes because it is an important part of the experience for me.
Yeah, and if you can't do that, like beer salt is good if you're drinking bad beer and you don't have like a choice, or if you're just on a real budget.
Yeah.
If your liquor store doesn't have like a little cardboard box of beer salt on the counter, just say something. It's cheap. They'll get it for you.
I'll figure it out. They'll order you a packet.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a 5 things sideshow.
Little bonus episode, little tier list.
Little bonus episode tier list. We'll have to do more of these. This is fun.
Yeah. If you enjoy this, throw a comment, and we'll rank anything. Why not? So
I'll rank anything. If you join our Discord and ask us to rank something, we will do it. That's a promise.